Hi guys. Okay guys, let's talk about bullying. I get a lot of comments and comments about how CNAs are being bullied by nurses, and then when they take it to the nurse supervisor or to management, they don't do anything about it, but they take the nurse's side. This happens a lot, especially in long-term care facility. It happens a lot at the hospital, and this is what keeps that attitude going of CNAs versus nurses, or CNAs are against nurses and nurses against CNA, and this whole clique thing that we have going on in the workplace, whether you work at the hospital or a long-term care facility or a rehab center or whatever, wherever CNAs are working, or techs or aides, patient care techs, whatever you're called. This is the culture of some workplaces, and it's called bullying, and it has to stop. And because and you know what's the crazy thing about it? CNAs are the backbones of they're the backbone of the long-term care facility and the hospital, especially if they use them and utilize them heavily. And even though we're the backbone, we're not treated with respect, and we're not treated as if we're valued. And the messed up thing about it is, if you take all the CNAs away from these long-term care facilities and hospitals, these nurses would have a heart attack, because it's too much work on top of the responsibility that they already have. Let me talk about hospital, because working at the long-term care facility, I really didn't see nurses really do anything. They looked at magazines, they talked all night, they just got up whenever it was time for them to give their medication, and that was it. From what I have seen, they hardly ever called to the doctors or anything like that. From what I have seen, they really don't do anything. But in the hospital, it's totally different. It's busy. They're just so busy. And if there were no CNAs in the hospital helping these nurses the way that we do, these nurses would drown, because they're already drowning. They have their own frustrations. They have the patient to nurse ratio for many hospitals in America is ridiculous and unsafe. So they have their own things that they're going through, and they have their own bullying. Just like CNAs, we have a lot of patients. We have up to 20 patients or even more. And a lot of times we're doing a lot of patient care one-on-one by ourselves. And we have a lot of physical demands, emotional, mental, all of that, because everyone is pulling on you at one time. You're helping multiple nurses, and because they're frustrated and they really don't get it, they don't really have it in their mind that, okay, I'm sharing this tech with somebody else, because a lot of nurses, they like to delegate based on convenience, and that's wrong. And it's just a lot going on, and all of this leads up to bullying. And bullying has to stop, and it has to stop with all of us together taking a stand. Because especially CNAs, if there's a particular nurse, and everybody knows that this nurse is just downright mean, it's time for you, and you went to management or the nurse supervisor, and they didn't do anything, where they made you look like you crazy. It's time for you to go above that person's head. I mean, and then you can't see. Another thing is as CNAs, you can't do this by yourself. You have to have a support team. You have to have backup, and it has to not only be CNAs, but it also has to be other nurses who see this. Because if management says, okay, it's not just the CNAs, but other nurses see this, it's time for us to do something. It takes situations like that, unfortunately, for something to be done. And if we continue to let these nurses talk to us any old kind of way, and not say anything, it's just going to continue to happen. But before you go straight to the nurse supervisor, talk to the person who is being disrespectful. Don't talk to them while you're upset or after the incident happened, because your aggression is going to be met with aggression. So you have to go somewhere and calm down, and when you're calm and you're ready to be wise about what you're going to say, then you say, okay, listen, so and so, to the nurse, even the CNA, because we do it to each other as well. Can I talk to you for a second when you're not busy? There's something I would like to say to you. And have a adult conversation. We act like a bunch of kids at work, and it's a crying shame. And because of the hierarchy and the pay level and all of that, we treat each other like crap, because it's nothing but pride. It's nothing but pride, arrogancy, insecurity, fear. All of that is lurking behind this culture of bullying. And we all have to stop it, because if we really respected ourselves and respect other people, this stuff would not happen at the workplace. And it doesn't happen only in hospitals. It happens everywhere. It happens in school. This is why kids commit suicide yearly. It happens everywhere. This is a part of human nature and the human mentality. And if you're a CNA and you stop being a CNA and you go work at Burger King, it's going to happen there too. So it's not a healthcare thing, it's a people thing. And no matter where we work, we cannot tolerate it. Now, because we do work in healthcare and this is going on and we see that it's going on, it's time for us to stand up and actually say something. And when we stand up and say something, we have to do it the smart way. If we have to, let's take it to social media. Let's shame these facilities. Because first of all of this bullying, which also affects our work, because now those who are being bullied, the person who's bullying, say you're working with a nurse, for instance, and you're the aide for that nurse, and you ask the nurse to come help you and they tell you no, or go get another aide. This is the nurse's patient. And if they don't want to help you, you tell that nurse, well, if you don't want to help me, no one else can help me right now. And if, for instance, if you have to get someone up and put them in a wheelchair for breakfast, if you don't help me, this person is going to stay in bed. And you document the time, the incident, who was around, all of that, especially if the nurse is not busy and then the nurse is just being downright mean, because some of them do that. So a lot of them do that. And especially in long-term care facilities, we have a lot of patients. I used to work there, and I used to have about 15 patients every night. All of them are heavy assists. Many of them were Hoyer lifts. None of them can stand and bear their own weight. They're all, 2-person, 3-person assist. And when I first started working there, I was doing all of this on my own. And then I just said, one day I just said, this is just not right, because if I'm getting a report saying this is a 2 assist, I need someone else to come assist me. And if we keep doing these jobs that way, a person that's a heavy assist and 2 assists, and we continue to try to do it on our own, we're bringing it on ourselves. The majority of what's happening at the hospital, at the long-term care facility, is happening because we're doing it and we're bringing it on ourselves, because we are not holding people accountable. If the Hoyer lift requires 2 people, which it does for the safety of the resident or the patient, and you're the only one doing it and no one wants to help you, do not do it. Leave the person there. Leave the patient there. If they get skin breakdown and all of that because the nurse didn't want to help, or because other CNAs didn't want to help, and it's not even the other CNAs. The nurse who is responsible for that resident or that patient should be helping the aide that is their aide, helping them, point blank, and the period. But if we don't say something, nothing is going to be done. Same thing in the hospital. That's why I made a video. I said, when I have to change a person, I bring the nurse for that patient with me. I started doing that because, especially Some new nurses have it in their mind that this is a job that they're not supposed to do. This type of patient care is something that they don't do. And they need a wake-up call. And it's not something that is done in spite. It's just something to help to change the culture and change the environment that I'm working, because I refuse to do things on my own, especially if they're a heavy assist, two-person assist. I'm not doing it by myself. If the person is a hard turn and they can't turn, I'm not pushing and pulling and changing and trying to clean them and make up their bed by myself. No, I am not. The nurse is going to get in there and help me. And if the nurse is busy and this is an emergency thing, of course, I'm going to get another aide who isn't busy. But the majority of the time, I get the nurse, because I'm here helping the nurse. You see? So we kind of bring it on ourselves. And if we don't change, then the situation is not going to change. Refuse to do certain things if you can't get any help. Don't use the excuse, I can't get any help, and then be mad that you had to do it all by yourself and that you're suffering and your back hurt and all of this stuff. Don't do it. And if there is a problem and you get in trouble for it, you are in the right. And that's another thing. You have to know your job. Know your job and know the procedure, because if it's supposed to take two people, you're supposed to have another person with you. And start going above people's heads and be wise about it, and take other people with you. Take other witnesses and start making this thing public. Take it to social media. Start shaming these facilities. Start shaming the culture of long-term care facilities and hospitals, and start putting it out there, the wrong mentality that some nurses have and even some CNAs have, because it's not all the nurses, it's some CNAs too. Because we have a lot of lazy CNAs too, that will let their patients sit there in that brief all night and just do the morning check, for instance, and let them get skin breakdown. So it's everybody. And another thing is, you allow to happen what you allow to happen. And that's something that I had to learn. I learned that in a long-term care facility, and I'm learning it at the hospital. Because if you allow these nurses to take advantage of you and CNAs to take advantage of you, that is what they're going to do. There was one incident in the hospital. This happened like a week ago. And a nurse was changing up. Now we were short, so I had about 25 people that I had to care for. And the nurse did an IV on a patient, did not set herself up where she can protect the bed and all of that, but she just blood everywhere, and then called me, oh, this needs to be clean. I said, oh, why are you calling me? Did you make this mess? Because I already gave this patient a bed bath. I already gave this patient, this patient was squared away until the nurse came and messed it all up. Oh, I have to go pull meds. Well, after you pull your meds, you need to come over here and clean this, because I'm not doing it, because that is equivalent, just like I told the nurse, of having something spill on the floor, pour water. You pour water on the floor, then call me and tell me to come clean it up. You made that mess. You didn't take the proper precautions and necessary things that you had to do. You clean it up. And I took her to the side and I said, that's very disrespectful. You don't make a mess and then call me to clean it up. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help you, but do not take advantage. Don't use me because this is convenient for you. I have other things to do. I'm not going to be running behind you, cleaning up behind you. I didn't say it like that with an attitude. That's how I was feeling. I went to go calm down, and I told her. And first of all, I did tell her in the room, I said, I'm not cleaning that up. And I walked out. And then after I got myself together, I explained to her why, and then she totally understood. Because if we continue to let this foolishness happen, it's going to happen, and we're going to just be sitting back writing comments on people's videos, complaining and carrying on about how things are not fair and whatever, for instance, or talking to our coworkers and having little cliques about how things are not fair and blah blah blah. We have to step up and say something and do something and know your job. Know what you're required to do. Know what you're responsible to do. Know the nurse's job as it relates to CNAs. Know what you're supposed to be doing so that you can have every right to open up your mouth and say something and make some changes. And be wise and take other people with you. Other people who see this, not only CNAs but nurses as well, and go above heads and start making this thing public, because bullying is not going to stop. It's just going to keep going as we let it go, and it's happening everywhere. Not just nursing homes, not just hospitals. It happens in every industry. And if you want your atmosphere and your surrounding and all of that to be a pleasant place to work, and you want everything all right with yourself at work, then that's some things that you have to take courage and step up and do, because no one's going to do it for you. Stop tolerating foolishness. Stop letting people run over you, and be wise about how you respond to things, and maybe things will change. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.